Hi everyone, really excited to be here and talking to the community today. My name is Eva Dong, and the topic I want to share about today is AI in action, revealing the power of real-world implementations. So first of all, I want to give a short introduction. So I know the official one is still like Ex-McKinsey, but I have recently joined Google Cloud, and right now I'm working mostly on AI implementation and AI monetization, because I think a lot of the topic right now is not like whether we should use AI. It's really like how can AI make money for me? How can AI make impact for me? So that's where I'm focusing right now. And before that, I spent 8 years at McKinsey, doing all kinds of advanced analytics implementation and AI implementation. And before that, I was a data scientist at Visa. Throughout my career journey, I've been focusing on kind of like various topics, but like where my biggest time spent on is usually on growth and marketing. So talking about like how can I use like marketing sales method to grow the revenue, grow the profit for my clients. I also consider myself as a global citizen. I have worked on most of the continents in the world, spend majority of the time in North America, Europe, South Africa, and China. Without further ado, for today's talk, I'd love to share two real-world AI implementation examples with impact, and hopefully that shed a light on like what kind of AI implementation is useful, is impactful, and is actually bringing like monetary impact for the business. And after sharing the two use case, I'd love to share 6 takeaways, which I have seen very common throughout my journey on AI implementation. So for the two use case I'm going to share, the first one will be a B2C case, and the second one will be a B2B case. So for the first one, the B2C case, I'd love to share one of the client I had. It is a grocery in South Africa, and it is like the Whole Foods in South Africa. So they focus on premium food, organic food. They have really strong offline presence. A lot of their stores are really fancy, and people can have really good shopping experience. At the same time, e-commerce growing very rapidly in South Africa. So the company would love to protect their offline market shares. At the same time, they want to grow their online shares. So one of the strategic lever they thought about at that time is we want to do a conversational experience with our customers. So first, I'll talk about what kind of impact it achieved, and then I'll talk about like how it achieved that kind of impact through a conversational chatbot. So the result was like super obvious. After 4 months of implementation, the company find out that like they reduced time before checkout by more than 50%, just because chatting with the chatbot makes the things like so easy and so efficient. I reduced so many clicks and so many searches. So it saved people a lot of time. Because it saved people time and provide a better experience, it create a lot of upsell and cross-sell experience, so that grow the revenue 4 to 6%. And obviously, because it's very tech savvy side, it attracted a lot of like customer who are more used to shopping online, who are more tech savvy, who more enjoy like AI experience. So attract a lot of new customers. And obviously, usually this kind of chatbot can reduce customer service costs pretty dramatically. So in this case, it reduced it by more than 20%. And I think the last one is actually, in my perspective, the biggest impact. By having this conversational chatbot experience with the customers, the company collects so much data on customer preferences and behavior, which you couldn't really get that through your other channels. And then all of that data is so useful to refine your marketing strategies and product offerings, which gave you such a long-term advantage against your competitors. So that's really amazing impact, and I want to talk about how they did it. So there's 4 aspects of their grocery conversational chatbot, which is personalization, tailored food content, relevance, and accessibility. So love to talk through them one by one. For the first one, personalization. So the example is like, let's say you're a regular customer at this grocery and you haven't shop back for a while, then the chatbot can push you notifications like, hey, Eva, like I noticed you haven't like really order for 2 weeks and usually order every week. Do you want your usual basket? And maybe I'm just really busy and like forget to order it. And I can say, yes, please order my usual basket and add more bananas. That everything just with that one sentence, everything is added to my cart instantly, and I can do any modification inside the cart, which is much more easier. If you think about, I don't have to search banana and then search egg and search milk every one by one, even though that's just my usual basket. So that give customers a lot of personalization experience, make them feel like very tailored and like customized experience, and it saved them so much time. For the second one, tailored food content. So chatbot can also act like your food inspiration. So for example, let's say, oh, I have some broccoli in the fridge. What do you think I can make with it? And then the chatbot can brainstorm like recipes with you. And then let's say, for example, like you guys brainstorm, you say, okay, I want to choose pasta with broccoli. But you don't have all the other ingredients. You can say, please add all the other ingredients except broccoli to my cart. Again, at just one click. The third aspect is relevance. So this one I think is actually very cool. Let's say it's like 7 p.m. local time, and I said, oh, I don't know what I should have for dinner. And the chatbot might say, oh, I noticed already 7 p.m. in your area. It might be a little bit late to start from the scratch. Do you want me to order a ready-made meal and deliver to your door within the 1 hour delivery window? So you can say, oh yeah, that's awesome. So with that, it really understands the time you have. And then it could also understand the weather. We also have like real-time weather data. Let's say that day is raining or snowy, it's really difficult to go out. Then maybe you could have delivery, you can have something warm, you can have a summer soup. It's really understand like everything like you are in. And last one is accessibility. Obviously with the fancy chatbot, it wants you to like be notified like along the way. So this one can be connected to WhatsApp and other messaging apps to make sure that you are notified along the way. So with all of that, that is how they did it for the grocery conversational chatbot. And the second example on AI implementation I'd love to share is more on the B2B sales space. So when you think about, let's say, maybe like a real estate agent, B2B sales sell to other business to have people move into their building for offices. There are typically 5 main areas for Gen AI applications. And then from the least automation to the most automation. So they goes like the first one will be enhanced back office automation. So for example, let's say if you are a B2B sales agent, maybe like it can do a bunch of research for you in the back or organize a client document for you in the back, which can save you time, but maybe it's not as impactful. And the next one, more automated, will be post-conversation insights. Let's say you had a phone call with your client, and then the AI is listening in, can like take the transcript, can summarize for you, summarize the action item for you, summarize the key point you guys talk about, summarize the pain point the client talk about. So that will actually be much more impactful. And the third one will be knowledge-based search. So this more be like a real-time Google or like a real-time Perplexity. Let's say you're a B2B agent, you're talking with your client. At the same time, like you forget what's the pricing for this product specifically. So you can do like a live search at the same time. It's more like a Googling or Perplexity. And the fourth one will be live agent copilot. And actually, I think this one is the sweet spot for automation because we still have a human B2B sales agent talking to our customers, but he will have a co-pilot AI agent listening in and providing recommendations, providing next sentence to say, providing product recommendations along the way. You don't have to give it any prompt. It will just listen in your conversation and just say everything to you like only you can see, and you can say it to the client. And obviously the most automated one will be a chatbot, but we find a chatbot to be more useful in the B2C setting. In a B2B setting, we find people are more reluctant to have like a pure AI agent just talk to you, like pure machine, pure robotic. It usually doesn't go well in B2B. So for this live agent copilot, I have one implementation example. So I have this client, and then they have a lot of B2B sales agent. And then back in the days, they always have to spend so much time ramping up the agent, and the knowledge can be very complex. And sometimes, like one agent can be performing really well and say everything correctly and attractively. There could be another agent who's more new, and like maybe like give the customer wrong information, or sometimes like just like stuck in the conversation because they don't know what to say. With this live agent copilot, a transfer the whole experience to be more intelligent. It gave predictive support for the agent, because like the AI is listening, can predict what the customer will ask, what the customer will want, and also give the agent so much knowledge, because like you don't have to remember every single detail. It will just be ready there whenever you hinted to it. So you don't have to remember all the pricing details. You don't have to remember all the product details. So with all of this, we see at least a 3 times faster sales ramp up, a 25% reduced customers cost, and a 40% reduced average handle time by the agent. So that's my 2 case, and I'd love to share 6 key learnings from the Gen AI implementations I have seen in the world. The first one will be objective come first. A lot of my clients are like really fancied by Gen AI, and they wanna like just like go along the wave and pick the hottest technology, and then try it out. But actually, that's the wrong way to go. Everybody have a different problem, and there's always different way to solve it. So you really have to start with your own objective first. That's the only way to solve your problem efficiently, and within a certain cost. And second thing is speed is a strategy. So if you decide to hesitate for a while, or you decide to wait for a while, actually there is a material cost associated with it. So we really recommend our client to like do early implementation. So if you see something might be working, just go have a very small test. It work, maybe it doesn't work, but that will always be like the source of truth. If you just spend time waiting, hesitating, maybe see what your competitor do, there is a material cost associated with it. And the third thing will be value usually come from the 4 C's we see. The 4 C's are coding, customer engagement, creative content, and concision. So concision means like virtual expert. That's usually the 4 areas we see a lot of impact. Obviously, Gen AI has a much wider implementation than just the 4 C's I listed here. But just so far, I think based on how mature the technology is and how many clients have implemented, those 4 C's are usually we see like monetary value from it. The first one will be pilot is great, but scale is the ultimate key to success. So that's also very common what I see across my client. A lot of my clients are very open to like give it a try. Oh, let's do a point of let's do an experiment. Let's do like a 2 months try. But when it's time to scale it after the experiment, they start to hesitate. Oh my God, does it cost me money to buy more cloud resources to scale it? If I scale it, what if it goes really wrong? So a lot of times, if you really spend time like hesitating whether you're going to scale, that doesn't really give you the ultimate success. Like piloting is great, but success pilot doesn't mean success revenue. And the first one is kind of related to that. Gen AI looks simple on the surface. Based on our research, the fancy LLM models is only 15% of the value, and the rest 85% usually is the infrastructure, the technology investment, like the cloud infrastructure, your database infrastructure, all your data engineering pipelines, all of that lay the foundation of your success. In order to have the LLM model work really well and actually bring you like value to, you need all the foundation infrastructure to be working really well. And usually that takes time and that takes investment. And the last thing we will say is a lot of my clients ask us like, so there's so many things I can try. There's so many things I want to try. So how many should I try? So we usually recommend a 2x2 approach. We recommend 2 use case focus on productivity and 2 use case focus on growth and innovation. So productivity, you can think about, oh, how can I, let's say, say, how can I have AI to write my emails? How can I have AI to produce more product photos? That's really productivity, which is like much more mature, but that's not the end of the story. I think more of the revenue and more of the impact come from the growth and renovation, such as, okay, so I want to think about a new way to talk to my customer. I want my customer to have a different experience when they land on my app. So that kind of thing is more impactful, but obviously take more time. So with that, that's my presentation. Lastly, I would love to leave my QR code for LinkedIn. Feel free to search me on LinkedIn. Happy to connect with the community. Okay, so I see one question. Lately, I've been asking ChatGPT to help me cook viral recipes with mixed results. Not sure if my bad get a GenAI implemented on my own cooking skill issues. I'm not sure. I'm not a fancy cook either. So I think maybe it's like something about prompting and like how well ChatGPT understand your specific cuisine. I mean, like I'm Chinese, so I love like more Asian food side. A lot of like American recipes doesn't really get my love. Are there any other common pitfalls you see in organizations trying to implement AI solutions in their business? I think the biggest one are the ones I mentioned. The first one is a lot of time the clients don't have the objective first. They just want to chase the hottest topic. Like, oh my God, I see the other retailer have a chatbot on their website. I need to have that too. But you may or may not need that. That's number one. And the second thing is like a lot of my clients are very open to testing and piloting. But when they finish that experiment phase, they're a little bit hesitate to go on the scale because the scale take investment. You need to buy more computing, you need to buy more chips, you need to buy more cloud resources that usually take much longer to do. And a lot of clients have like a lot of hesitation, but that's actually very, very critical, right? Like just because you have a pilot doesn't mean anything. Like just if you only like 5% of your customers see how they can have a better experience, doesn't really matter for the bottom line. Like you need to let 100% of your customers see how you can provide a better experience for them. So those are the two common pitfalls I see most often. And obviously, every client have their own problem. But what I see recently in the last several years, more of my clients are very open to try. Um, they're just not sure whether it will bring them impact. It will bring them PR. Like, oh, this company is doing this fancy thing with Gen AI. That's great PR. But value-wise, I think is more of the topic like 2025. Like, how can AI actually make me money? Um, Next thing I'm seeing and saying, I'm curious if your clients also bring their employees on board during experimentation phase, like building chatbot helper and training their existing non-technical employees to use Gen AI products. Yes, for sure. So usually, so my clients specifically are more like Fortune 500 companies. A lot of times they love to use vendors if they want to do things like really fast. So they usually will have a vendor, let's say the the chatbot, for example, they will usually have a vendor build everything from scratch for them, train the model for them, implement into the app for them. But at the same time, they will have their employees joining the phase and knowing what's going on because the employees will be the one who maintain the model and improve the model in the long term. And then speaking of like training their non-technical employees, just to be very, very honest, it's gonna be hard to hear, but the blunt truth is that I see more of my like bigger company clients, they would rather do like a layoff of the people they think are less capable or less needed in the future, and then bringing on new employees and new blood. Which is more controversial, but unfortunately, we are living in a wave of layoffs, and a lot of companies would rather do layoffs than training. No problem. Really happy to be here. Thank you for the questions. I'd love to connect on LinkedIn and continue the conversation.